A lot of people who come across the stuff we talk about here at Nomad Capitalist have seen something called flag theory or five flag theory. And in this video, I'm going to go back to basics and explain exactly what flag theory is and why it should matter to you today. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you'd like to learn how Nomad Capitalists can use the principles of flag theory to help you create a modernized, holistic offshore plan to keep more of your own money and go where you're treated best, you can go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn more. But let's go back to basics with flag theory. You know, I'm entering now my 13th year of researching, probably too much researching at first, and now living increasingly the nomad capitalist lifestyle. And when I first started looking into this stuff, I started seeing anomalies where I was living in the United States at the time, and I would go to Europe and I would say, oh, you know, interest rates on the bank are a little bit higher here, or, oh, you know, this seems easier, or these people seem nicer. And I started to realize there were arbitrage opportunities around the world where, as my father said when I was a kid, you know, you should go where you're treated best. No one country is going to treat you best for every part of your life, okay? And I started researching that. I started trying to figure out, you know, could I bank in, you know, the UK, or could I buy a property in Ireland, or, you know, what options could I take advantage of this? I was so excited. And as I started researching more, I came across this concept of flag theory. The original three flag theory was credited to an investment expert named Harry Schultz, and his principle back decades ago was you should have a second citizenship as a backup plan. You should have your business overseas, and you should have an address in a tax haven to protect you from having to pay high taxes. Then it was expanded to five flags later, where it was a business haven, playgrounds, an asset haven to store your wealth, where is your passport, where was your residence. And you know, we've added different flags, and everyone has their different take. You know, some people have added the digital flag now. You know, in the digital era, where is your website hosted? Where is your email hosted? There's a lot of different takes. I've added the social flag. You could call it a playground, I suppose, but you know, where are you making friends? Where are you dating? And so you can add any number of different flags. What I've tried to synthesize it is to say, go where you're treated best. Take every single part of your life and basically say, is where I am now the best? And I remember I realized this in the Great Recession in the United States. I was relatively new in business, but I was starting to do pretty well. And I looked at the United States and I said, you know, every day there's like a new bank failure. And then they came up with a study back then that the United States had the 40th safest banks in the world. That meant 39 other countries, including probably a lot of countries that the average American has never even heard of, were safer. But yet, go and ask someone in the United States if they would move their money out of Chase Bank and put it in a bank in Singapore, and the vast majority of them would laugh at you. They would say, no, that's not safe, even though Singapore's banks are statistically actually much safer than most banks in the United States. And so, to me, that's what flag theory is all about. What we've done here at Nomad Capitalist is kind of modernized flag theory to adjust for the way that the world has changed, because there's been some big changes since this has originally come out, which is why I like to say, plant your flags, go where you're treated best. Let's talk about the original three flags. Can you put your business in a zero tax or low tax jurisdiction and save tax? Yes. Can you do that while living in the United States and just have your business over in the Marshall Islands or Nevis or the Bahamas or wherever else? No, because governments have come out with things like controlled foreign corporations laws, you know, mind and management, I mean, all kinds of different things that basically say if you want to live in our country, you're going to pay tax. And so if you set up a company in a tax-free jurisdiction, what they don't tell you is that if you go back and live in the US, Australia, Canada, etc., that company is generally going to be treated as if it's just a company in your own country. You're just adding more paperwork for potentially an asset protection benefit, but not really a tax benefit. And so a lot of the laws have been beefed up. They're consistently and constantly being added to make it so that people can't go to these places. And so you want to be aware of that. Is there still a legal way to have a company in a tax haven? Yes, there is, but it's not nearly as easy as it used to be. You have to do the proper planning. Can you get a second citizenship? Yes, you absolutely can. Still a great idea. Having two citizenships means you're never a slave to one country. You can go where you're treated best, whether that's physically, whether that's the ability to move your money to other countries, because it's been harder to open bank accounts in many places. Let's say, for example, help someone recently get UK citizenship through their family. Now they can go and bank in the UK. They have an easier time owning assets in the UK. That could be true of any different citizenship. You're just diversifying your options. But let's be clear. Is dual citizenship a get-out-of-jail-free card for paying taxes? No. If you're a US citizen in particular, they're going to haunt you no matter where you live. They're going to follow you. You can keep more of your own money. You can bank offshore. You can lower your taxes. But you're always going to be a US citizen with US citizen reporting requirements and potentially some lower tax paying requirements. So having a second citizenship is not the get-out-of-jail-free card that was envisioned 50 years ago. Okay? Can you still store your assets offshore? Yeah, you can. Now again, if your goal is to get a tax benefit, you have to do the proper lifestyle planning to match that, because you can't just simply stash and hide your money. I'm not going to say that anyone who invented flag theory suggested that, but obviously plenty of people over the years have suggested hide your money in a numbered Swiss bank account, put it over there and don't report it. And there's been a lot of stories of people in this industry decades ago who went to jail using some pretty low rent ways to try and avoid the tax man. It's not worth it. So if you want to put your assets somewhere because you're worried about being sued, or you just want to have a trust, a foreign trust, you want to own different properties around the world, there are numerous benefits to that. There's numerous benefits to having your money in a place where the laws treat you better. Again, maybe the interest rates are higher overseas. There are banks overseas that pay 3, 4, 5% in US dollars rather than 1% in most developed countries. I don't know how many people have a risk of being sued. Certainly some people do. I also just think diversifying around the world, owning properties around the world, it's a de facto asset protection strategy. It's just good. It just makes good sense to take part in many of the boom markets around the world and not entirely invest in your own country. So can you still move your assets around the world? Of course you can. And so for me, the big changes to flag theory have been that there are so many more laws. One thing that I see constantly circulating to this day, it just won't die, is the 183-day rule. People will sit around and say, as long as you don't spend 183 days in Australia or Canada or whatever, then you're cool. And so the idea is that if you spend 182 days in Canada, you're suddenly never going to pay tax to Canada again. It's not really how it works. There are a number of tests in most developed countries now. Oh, where's your closest connection? Where's your home? Where's your center of life? Because they realize that in the days of flag theory, it was as simple as saying, I'll live in Canada 182 days a year, and I'll just travel around the world as a tourist the rest of the year and not incur any tax obligations there, of course. No, if you're on vacation, they don't tax you. But it's become more difficult. And so I'm not here to complain about five flag theory. Obviously, it has formed a great basis for what we talk about here that says diversify. Don't rely on one country. I think for a lot of us who are from the West, it's hard to swallow because we've never seen some of the terrible things that have happened in a lot of other countries around the world. When I talk to people who are my friends from all around the world, they say, Andrew, yeah, believe me, we know the currency can go to zero. Believe me, we know the government can take all of our money whenever they want. We know they can take your property. We know that we can do this. For those of us who live in the Western world, there's a sense of security where we think, oh, our countries aren't corrupt. But as I always say, it costs $1 billion to get elected president of the United States. You don't think that's corrupt? And so the point is, I'm not telling you to leave your home country. The point of flag theory wasn't to leave your home country. The point was simply to be diversified. The point was to go where you're treated best. What I want to adapt flag theory for today is the idea that simply having an address in Monaco does not exempt you from paying tax. Immigration and tax authorities are increasingly getting close together. They are closing the loopholes. They are making it so you can't just go and spend, as much time as you want in a country and slide under the radar. You can't do that. So flag theory, great basis. It's a great way to think of where am I planting my flags? Where's my banking flag? Best place to bank. Where's my company flag? Best corporate law, best tax rate. Where do I want to live? I talk about the trifecta method, being an expat, living in tax-free countries. Asset flags, protecting your assets, all these different things, and again, so many others. But make sure that you're aware of the modern day restrictions because governments are increasingly making it so that you have to do more and more planning to make sure you enjoy the benefits of low taxes and a free lifestyle. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, Get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.